the bottom line is the thing that is just blatantly missing from AEW are quality stories. And if you don't, I don't care if you're MJF or CM Punk or Eddie Kingston. Well, Kingston's the one. Kingston is actually the one exception to this.
Well, I'd say Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, too.
Okay. I could listen to them say nothing and be captivated.
Yeah.
Everybody else, including Punk. You need something. You gotta have something to latch onto. Otherwise, you're just blowing air.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the stories are the thing. I mean, I was talking to you in private about this earlier, and I've seen like discourse on Twitter about like, all the wrestlers are great. Nobody stands out. And so it's like not a wrestling problem. And there are some people who are really good on the mic, and they're the ones that stand out. Nobody stands out because nobody's telling stories right now.
Yeah, nobody stands out.
Like, you get a hint of it. Like the Jericho Appreciation Society will go through a little spell where it's like, oh, this is kind of interesting. But right now, like, it's in full on, why are they doing this? They already had a match, It's like you said, they're telling that story backwards.
Yeah.
And this was something that I was really curious about from day one with AEW, but especially after the big wave of big signings around All Out in 2021, it was weekly television. And this is again, the Cody thing. When Cody left, Cody has been around the concept of telling weekly television since he was like a kid, and when you don't understand how to, we talked about this the other day also, when it comes to the Bischoff thing, the formula of wrestling is different than any other formula. It's different than you can sit there and write and write a treatment for a movie, right? And it's generally speaking a 3-act structure.
Yeah.
TV seasons are kind of the same way, depending on how they're being told. Wrestling is different in that there are beats that will be based off of your schedule, your calendar. And you need, like, ideally, your entire show will feel like one complete world. Tony Khan cannot help because I don't think he has the experience and know-how. Meanwhile, the elite who also really don't have an idea about how weekly television is supposed to work because they haven't done it before. They're in a fucking gym shooting hoops for a 1-minute segment. Yeah. Like, where are they right now?
I know.
And so instead of having stories that twists and turn and weave and go in and out, these stories are nowhere to be found. It's everybody's on an island. MJF has the exact same problem right now with his championship run that everybody criticized the Hangman Page championship run. The difference between these runs and Kenny's run is Kenny was literally woven into the fabric of the company and 3 other companies also, or 1 other company, Impact. And so, and AAA. And so instead of trying to weave all these into each other, it's just MJF is going to go through one opponent after another opponent after another opponent.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's going to be the same formula where, and regardless how he tries to dress it up, it's the same formula. All right, you got to do this, you get title match. He might not call it like the labors of Jericho, but it's effectively the same thing.
Yeah.
He sets a barricade, something, an impediment of some sort, to keep the person from getting their title shot. They do what they need to do to get title shot. They have match. It's 95% a really good match. He cheats to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need more than that because it's just the same thing over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's the same thing. If you look back to when everybody was back when Heyman was running SmackDown in the mid-aughts and the ratings were like better than Raw's or whatever, because the stories were really good. Yeah. He took who he had, and that was Heyman's strength, was always, let me take who I have and make them feel special. And in ECW, it sucked because every time he'd do that, they'd get plucked. They'd get plucked by WCW or WWE or WWF. But no matter who he had, and it was the same thing on SmackDown when he had the SmackDown 6. These are my guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to run. And it was all story and character based.
Yeah.
It can't be wrestling and promo based. It has to be character and story based.
And I think it's most frustrating because we've seen AEW do it before. They've done it before. We saw it with the Kenny Hangman stuff.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks. That was really good.
Yeah.
We see them do it. Punk and MJF.
But here's the thing, though. Those story, number one, Punk and MJF. I think Punk, we know because he said it in his documentary, that dude will go home and he'll write TV himself.
Yeah, yeah.
So we know Punk, if he's involved, he's probably going to be involved in stories, right? Because he'll do that stuff. Jericho also, but they're lost with the Ricky Stark stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, they're not writing for weekly television. They think that the great matches evidently will get you 800,000. The great matches and the name value will get you 800,000 in the ratings, but you're not going to grow, and your attendance is going to keep on, shitting the bed.
I know.
And that's the major problem with AEW right now.
Yep.
It's not the wrestling, it's not the promos, it's the stories. That's what brings people coming back. I mean, the Bloodline stuff has had any number of really good matches, right? But it's the stories within the matches and what happens and the twists and turns and how it affects the characters. And then you build these layers on layers on layers. Sami Zayn he opened up to Cody in front of how many thousands of people and a couple million watching on TV about his imposter syndrome. Yeah. I mean, my God, that is something good there. And the matches are serviceable, but it's like they don't need to be 5-star matches. But it's such a great story because of the story beats. Mm-hmm. And week to week, they build this tension within Sammy and the Bloodline and Jay and the Bloodline and Jimmy and Solo. And what's Solo doing? Why is he quiet all the time? And Roman and his insecurities. And it all is character and story and how these characters interplay and how their various insecurities clash. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so good. And there ain't none of that in AEW. Nope. It's surface. It's go out there and have a banger match. You cut a promo, and then that's it. And everybody's on an island.
Yep. Black Mega Man says time to watch some of that food critic guy. What was his name?
Oh man, Joey Sweatpants. That's a story right there. That guy's the storyteller.
Ryan K. Lamb asks, how dead was that crowd last night at Dynamite? I mean, they weren't cheering Hangman, that's for sure.
Yeah, they don't like him.
Maggie here says, okay, I saw the MJF promo during the commercial and how it's the best heel work in the industry. I think it could be a great debate question. What's your personal preference for heel promo styles? Roman currently, MJF, someone else altogether, mishmash.
I like a complex heel.
Yeah.
I like somebody who, like with Roman, oh my God, you need to see him get beat. Mm-hmm. You need to see that. Mm-hmm. You need to see that. Yeah, Maggie, I did that rant just for Friendo Club TV. Because I think what she said, are you gonna Steve's definitely gonna timestamp this and throw it up on Friendo Club TV. Yeah, I thought it was a good opportunity, a good question to sort of go into a rant about that, because you and I have talked about that quite a bit.